Hi everyone. This time I'm trying something different. So I recently upgraded my computer, and yes, I did say upgraded, to Linux Mint with the Cinnamon interface. So this is my first video using my webcam with my PC with the Linux software. Now, my previous videos were primarily on my smartphone, and a few were with this same webcam, this Logitech webcam. It's a Brio webcam, using my PC and Windows 10. Well, I have gotten rid of Windows 10 on my computer, and now I'm using Linux. However, as I'm doing this, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but the video is lagging. I got it very briefly to work correctly for me, and then right when it was time for me to start my recording, it was lagging again. I had worked for a while to get my audio to come through properly, and the good news is, now that I'm also using OBS Studio for the first time ever for a YouTube video, I was able to turn up the audio with this Sennheiser mic up to 275%. Previously, when I had made videos using this microphone and using the Windows software, I was getting complaints that my audio was too quiet, too faint, or too low. And that was true, it was pretty low, and I had to hold this microphone right up near my mouth to at least have a reasonable volume. But now I can just speak normally, and it's plenty loud, I would say. But I could definitely use some advice for how to make this video not lag for me. I tried various settings with the frame rate and with the bit rate and those sorts of things, the sampling, and there's so many different settings with this, and it seemed like I just played with it a little bit and all of a sudden it worked, and then I went to actually do my recording and it stopped working the way that it had been. So any advice would be much appreciated. But the main focus of the video today is about looking for some radios that are under $700 here in the United States and have at least 2 ham radio HF bands. And I wanted to branch out, and because it's President's Day here in the United States, I wanted to focus on starting with the President Electronics USA website. So this is something different. Many of you hams may not have seen much of the President brand. However, it is more popular on the CB side of things. So this first radio is the President Washington 10 and 12 meter radio, and as it says, it offers 80 watts of PEP. Now I won't read all the features here, but I will include links down below in the description. But you can see that it has a standard SO239 connector with 50 ohms antenna impedance. It works with the 12 meter band and the 10 meter band, continuous scanning and so forth. There are some features that are more on the CB side of things, but it has CTCSS, all kinds of things here. So let's look at some things under transmission. AM, upper and lower sideband, FM, and let's see here, goes over some more details, squelch sensitivity and so forth, microvolt and dBm ratings. As far as the price, well, one of the sellers is Walcott Radio in Walcott, Iowa. The President Washington 10 meter plus 12 meter radio with AM, FM, SSB modes and CTCSS, DCS tones and codes. So $299 to get into HF. And this brand has been around since 2005. By the way, with the focus today, I wanted to focus on those brands that have been available readily in the United States for at least 20 years. And this one is just over 20 years. It started in 2005 from what I saw. Actually, excuse me, the 2005 is going to be the next one. This one's been around longer than that. But without further ado, let's look at that next one. That is Stryker. Stryker has been around since 2005. And this is the Stryker SR955 HPC Plus 10-meter radio. This has 100 plus watts of PEP. Let's look at the transmitter here. AM, FM, SSB. Here's the receiver. So I'm not going to go over every little detail here either. But GigaParts does sell it for $459.99. I have seen it for less than that elsewhere. But let's take a look at some other details. Here's some features. 3-year limited factory warranty. Here's our specifications. SO239, also known as UHF connector, which is kind of the old name for it. Again, the 10 and 12 meter band. AM, FM, and SSB. And here's what it includes. Microphone and so forth. All right, the next one is going up in price. This is right at the top of that range, just about $700. This is the Yaesu FT891. Now this is a full HF rig. (1.8 to 54 megahertz with the amateur bands. It receives all the way down to 30 kilohertz and up to 56 megahertz. It puts out 100 watts, although 40 watts for AM carrier. It does SSB, AM, and FM. And it also has CW. So really a full-featured yet basic radio. Let's go ahead and take a look at what Ham Radio Outlet is selling it for, $699.95. Now because this is Yaesu, it is available through all the major ham radio retailers that I have found. But this would be a great step into amateur radio if you were wanting something to get you started and for a relatively low cost. But in any case, this is my first video, and that is using the Linux software with OBS Studio. So we'll see how it turns out. And again, if anybody has any good recommendations for how to avoid that lagging video, please let me know. And this is AC7WH, Jared, with Backyard Ham Radio 73.